Truth be told, he's always been a hustler on a mission. Mission for greatness. Some people are naturally blessed with the hustler's ambition. Now this story is one that we're all quite familiar with. This man had talent and a dream. Three things that he always had besides his 45 were intelligence, ambition, and intuition. Hustler is not simply born. The true hustler is created as he adapts to the bullshit this world throws at him.
Hey, what up, everybody? I just want to let you know BGK's Gambino has been dropping bombs. This boy has turned out to be one of the best dogs we ever produced. He is a 150-pound, trimerle, beautiful, handsome stud. He looks just like his father, MBK's Morpheus. The only difference is he's actually bigger and a lot younger. This boy is absolute proof that MBK's Morpheus can produce. This boy isn't even 2 years old yet, and he's already a monster. His pedigree, incredible. He has MBK's Morpheus, BGK's Picasso, BGK's The Rock, Stone, XB's Icon, XB's Comet. The list goes on. He was taken to our female, our lilac tri, Nala, AK's Nala of BGK, and she has some bossy blood behind her. Among other things, he has bossy silverback, etc., etc. This combination is perfect. These puppies turned out amazing. Big, thick, colorful, XXL tri-merles and tri-pups. My goal when I created BGK's Gambino was to supersize the tri and the tri-merle game. I seen a lot of beautiful colored bulls, but they didn't have that XXL size. That's what we bring to the table. Remember, quality matters. Hey, what up, BGK gang? This is Andre of Big Gemini Kennels, aka BGK. Welcome back. Smash that subscribe button, hit the like button, drop a comment, let us know what you're thinking. Make sure you hit that alert button so that you're notified every time we drop content, and that's gonna be frequently because we came to drop bombs. Beast mode.
Hey, what up? So today, Dre BGK is here to hit you with a story time. Let's get ready for a BGK story time.
The time that I produced a bully legend named BGKs Cujo and sold him to a guy in Europe, introducing the first famous XL American bully to the country. It was all going better than I ever could have hoped for, until it went all bad. It's the tale of two Patricks. The good Patrick that would become one of my closest friends, and the bad, shady-ass Patrick who would eventually rip off BGK Europe, leave his wife for her best friend and have babies with her, and then hide out with all the money. Yeah, that happened. Hey, we do have a winner for our BGK giveaway. His name is Harryo Van Dizzle. He will be receiving a MacBook Pro as well as the iPhone. Congratulations to you. I'll get a video from him to show you guys him with his winnings in one of our upcoming videos. Congrats. Stay tuned. We will be doing more BGK giveaways in the future. As I said before, today's video is very near and dear to my heart. It's about one of my first productions, BGK's Cujo. Please drop an RIP BGK's Cujo, the legend, in my comments. It'll be greatly appreciated. Thank you. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Andre BGK back at you with another banger. You know how we do it. It's another story time. This story time is actually about BGK's Cujo producing and selling an XL American bully legend. This boy turned out to be something super special. But before I get into that, I knew once I started doing story times for you guys as an American bully breeder, I hadn't seen anybody else do it. I'm an innovator. I like to do something different. I like to do what everybody else isn't. You know, if you're over here, I like to be over there. I'm in my own lane. And I noticed there's other breeders or other breeder. I don't know. I heard a couple stories about people trying to imitate my story times already. You know, that's kind of pathetic. If y'all can't come up with originality, I guess you got to imitate the best. They say imitation is the best form of flattery, but don't flatter yourself. Be yourself. Do you. But anyway, I want to talk to y'all about BGKs Cujo, man, because this was a real interesting thing for me. Now, let me set the time period that this all takes place in so it can all make sense to you. I had just got the legend BGKs The Rock, and I decided to do his first breeding with my bitch, my foundation bitch, who is OG Gray Lines, Jules. Beautiful Gray Line bitch, OG Gray Line bitch. So I decided to take the legend BGKs The Rock and breed it to my bitch, BGKs Jules, and see what came out of it. I knew that everything that Jules was bred to would come out blue. And my idea when I did this breeding, my vision was to have a better version of Rock, a cleaner version of Rock, in a blue suit, in an all blue coat. That was my goal. And I actually did that twice because Cujo and his sister, BGK's Big Sexy. I mean, you gotta love that name, Big Sexy. That's a funny ass name. I don't care. When I came up with that name, I laughed for a while myself. Big Sexy. Remind me of that cartoon. What is that, man? When Moto was like, I like 'em big, I like 'em chunky. But anyway, yo, let's get back to it. BGKs Cujo and BGKs Big Sexy both came out of that breeding. Two blue specimens that I'm super proud of. Now, remember the Trust Your Blood episode? Well, this comes back to me not understanding. This is my learning process. That's why I can make that Trust the Blood video, because I went through it myself with BGKs Cujo. Now, when BGKs Cujo was produced, Roman from ICK, everybody around was watching that litter because it was BGKs The Rock's first litter in the United States with me. And I'm breeding them to some quality blood, and they knew it. So everybody was watching that litter to see what came from it. They were big, beautiful, bully pups. Like, that's what I expected, but I mean, I think they were even better than what I expected. They just had a really unique look to them. The big, thick heads, the big, thick blue bodies. They came out all blue, just like I intended. So it was perfect. It was what I hoped for. Now, Cujo to me, for whatever reason, stood out from the rest of the pups. Like, he always stood out to me. He had thicker bone, a bullier structure, a bigger headpiece, and then he had that unique marking on his chest. So I was like, something about this dog is special. Just something about him stands out. And if you're a breeder, or if you're into dogs, if you're just a dog lover, you know when you come across a special dog. This was a special dog. From a puppy, I knew he was special. And he kind of stayed with me through my transition, because I actually went from the house I was living at when he was born to when he was sold. That's when I actually moved into my $1 million home, where we had the waterfall and the pool. So he seen me through the struggle all the way to the bubble. He was there from the get-go. But anyway, so after I produced BGKs Cujo, I decided I was going to hold on to him and his sister BGK Sexy, and then his brother, because I couldn't really, his brother's name was Stalker. Now I really couldn't decide between Stalker and Cujo. I knew I was keeping BGK's Big Sexy, but I didn't know if I was going to keep Stalker or Cujo. Now Stalker was slightly taller than Cujo, so technically he was bigger, but Cujo was bullier. Sometimes it's going to come up to, what is your preference? Are you trying to breed a bigger dog, or do you want big and bully? For me, I wanted big and bully, and Cujo was kind of both. So I held on to his brother till they were both about 8 months. And at 8 months, I decided, you know what? His brother is taller, but Cujo has better structure. Cujo has a better headpiece. Cujo has better bone. Their movement was pretty equal. As far as the physical traits that I'm looking for in a dog, when I'm picking something that I'm going to keep and that I want to duplicate again and again, Cujo carried that, and plus he carried what I call an it factor. Like, there was something about his look. There was something about his temperament. There was just something about Cujo that was unique. So I went ahead and sold his brother Stalker to a guy, I think his name was Herman, up in Canada. I shipped him up to Canada because one thing I did know, and this is one place I can say that I moved very smartly with this litter. I knew that this litter was special, and I didn't want to create my own competition by selling his puppies in the United States. So I'm like, if I'm going to sell his brother, it's going to go to Canada. And when I did sell Cujo, that's the same reason why I ended up selling Cujo out of the country, because I knew no matter what, he would become competition for me if he was anywhere close to me. You know, so I wanted to keep him under my control. Now, with that being said, the biggest dog show that I know of is in Southern California, and it's called Cinco de Mayo. We just call it Cinco. And that's where everybody shows up. Like, if you're anybody trying to make a name for yourself, which at that time I was trying to make a name for myself, a lot of people were calling me out saying that The Rock really wasn't as big as I said he was, that his son wasn't going to be that big. So I decided I want to bring both of my dogs out. So we bought BGKs to rock out. He was weighed on the scale, as you can see, and he weighed out to like 148 pounds that day. Cujo was weighed on the scale that day. He weighed at like 123 pounds. But you got to imagine, this dog is 13 months, right? 13 months old. So I decided, you know what? Looking at Cujo, he's cool. 123 pounds at 13 months, that's cool. But Rock is 150 pounds, man. I might as well go ahead and use this dog to sell overseas and make my name overseas, and I'll produce something bigger and better than Cujo. Dumbass idea. I did not understand that at 13 months, you cannot see what the dog's full structure is going to be. He's nowhere near full grown. My dogs grow up to 4 years old. They don't physically fully mature until they're like 3 or 4 years old. So I did not know. I'm just selling a big, good-looking puppy and not an adult. Like, I knew he was an adult, but I figured he's going to stay pretty close to this size. Wrong. His structure changed. His weight changed. He popped, and he popped after I sold him. I'd been talking to a few people that were overseas that were saying they want to buy Cujo. I had put up a video showing Cujo off, saying, look, anybody that got some real money, I got an XL American Bully. Now, you got to imagine at this time, there were not that many XL American Bullies, and there damn sure wasn't a lot of XL American Bullies that look like Cujo. Because when Cujo and Rock hit that show, my phone started blowing up. Everybody got to see him in person, and the people that didn't see him in person heard from the people that did see him in person, and was like, Dre got some heat. Dre got some heat. The Rock was a monster. His head was really 30 inches. The dog was really 150 pounds. He had a son there that was just a puppy, and he's like 123 pounds. He's producing monsters. Yo, y'all need to get with that blood. That blood is it. So after that, my phone went crazy. But there was one particular guy that I took a liking to that kept calling me saying that he was serious about purchasing Cujo. And his name was Patrick. And Patrick was in the Netherlands, over in Europe, okay? So when he called me, the more we talked, the more I felt like, you know what? He had a genuine spirit. You could tell this was a genuine guy. He genuinely loved Cujo. He really wanted, he had never seen a dog like that in his life. Over in Europe, they did not have the XL American Bully at this point. I did not realize that. I kind of thought, because I'm in Southern California, where there are so many XL American Bullies, that there were just a lot everywhere. I didn't realize that we were the heartbeat, the founders of a new breed, a new style of the breed of American Bully. We were doing bigger and better bullies than most people had seen. So this is at the forefront of the XL American Bully becoming what it is now today. So the guy kept talking to me. The more I talked to Patrick, I was like, look, man, this is my price. And I told him my price, and I'm not going to speak about the price, but it was not cheap. All right? I let him know this is the price I want for this bully. And he was so excited. He was like, send me the contract. I send you the money right now. I sent him the contract. He sent me the money. Oh, before we did that, I told him I had to do at least one breeding with Cujo before I send him over to you. And if I send them over to you, you need to found BGK Europe using this dog. So this is not just going to be a typical sale. We will be business partners moving forward. And because of his energy and the sincerity I sense from this man, I don't know how to explain to you, but it don't matter what country you're in. You know when you're talking to another good person. You know when you're talking to a solid person. This was a solid guy, somebody I want to do business with. So I decided, you know what, man, I'm going to set up BGK Europe with you. You're going to represent me in Europe. And he was explaining to me how the XL American Bully wasn't in Europe, and how many people were excited when he told them that he was buying Cujo. So I'm like, whoa, this is a bigger deal than I realized. We're about to do something different. So my business mind started clicking, and I'm like, okay, we're going to set up a franchise. We're going to set up BGK Europe, and after I do my breeding with Cujo, he comes out there. Fast forward, I go ahead and do my breeding with Cujo. It's the first time that I breed two dogs that I produced together. I bred BGKs Cujo to BGKs Deja, and out of that breeding came Magic. That's when I knew, but it was too late because I already had made the sale, that Cujo was a super producer. I was the first one to recognize that, because when I was looking at these puppies, they were so big at like 2 weeks old that as they were eating from the mother's nipples, they was pushing her across the floor. That's just them pushing to get to the nipple. We're talking about puppies like this that are 2 weeks old. Blue boulders, man. Blue monsters, right? And I'm looking at them like, Oh my God, this breeding is insane. Like I had never seen nothing like that. I had never seen, and I had seen other breeders post their litters on the boards. I had seen other breeders litters in person when I was buying my foundation stock, and I knew I hadn't seen nothing like what I had just produced with Cujo and Deja. But you got to be a man of your word. Patrick was a man of his word. He sent the money ahead of time. I had to be a man of my word, and I put Cujo on the plane. And let me tell you this, like, to Patrick's credit, he was very patient with me after sending the money. A lot of people will send the amount of money he sent and blow your phone up every day. Now, we talked on a regular basis, but I kept telling him I'm waiting to do this breeding, and as soon as I do the breeding, the dog will be sent. And then Patrick started telling me, like, there's a lot of people in Europe saying, hey man, that black guy in the United States, I can't believe you sent him all that money for a dog that you ain't never going to get. You're never going to see this dog except for on the computer. You're never going to get the dog. And but he, even though he was telling me that, I could tell he was really being told that by other people, but he wasn't saying that in a way where he didn't trust me, or he wouldn't have sent the money, and he wouldn't be speaking so cordially to me every day. Short story shorter, I had my litter. I sent Cujo out to Europe, to Patrick, and after he arrived in the Netherlands, he went to the Schiphol airport in Amsterdam, and after he arrived there, Patrick called me like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe that this dog actually looks better in person than he did on YouTube, and you didn't take good pictures of him because he looks better than any picture that you sent to me. Like, he's tripping out. He said everybody at the airport, the same experience I had with Rock, when I went to the airport and I seen Rock and everybody was in shock and oh my God, can I take a picture with that dog? He was going through that in Europe. This is getting even crazier to me. He tells me when he gets home, there's literally multiple people that he doesn't know knocking at his door asking to see that American Bully that he bought online. He's like, I don't even know how they knew where I was. I did post on the boards that I got the dog, but I did not expect people knocking at my door. So everything's going great, man. Everything's going beautiful. Cujo touched down to Europe. Rock is still out here in the United States, rocking it, doing what he does. Europe is getting stronger and stronger. We're hearing from everybody out there that's seeing Cujo in person. Now they're believers. I'm getting so many calls from Europe from people trying to buy puppies from me. I don't even know what to do. Now I got to figure out international transport because I am getting blown up in Europe. And this is how the XL American Bully was introduced to Europe. BGK's Cujo was Europe's introduction to a true XL American Bully. And I'm proud to say that we were able to do that. That I was a big part in that, and so was Patrick. So everything's going good. And then Patrick, now this is where it's going to get confusing. There are two Patricks in Europe. One Patrick is the one that I've been talking to for the last, I don't know how long it took, 6-8 months. And the other Patrick is this Patrick's childhood friend who wants to get in because he's seen his friend buy a badass American Bully from the United States. He's seen all the hype around it. He's seen his friend is becoming super popular. Everybody is talking about this American Bully. You don't understand the type of hype that's surrounding this dog at this point. And his other friend Patrick has a little bit bigger property and stuff. And then one day I'm talking to the Patrick that I'm really close with, that I've grown to consider a very close friend. After the transaction, we continue just bonding. Like I told you, he's founding BGK Europe. He's bringing my name into Europe. He's bringing the BGK brand into Europe. He's showing them something they never seen before. So we were both so excited about the reception that he was getting. And then he tells me, look, I'm not going to be able to keep this dog at my house anymore. Huh? What? Bro, you just spent how much money to not keep the dog at your house? Well, I have a friend, this is what he's telling me. I have a friend, his name's Patrick also, and Patrick actually wants to be business partners with me. So, you know, I spent a lot of money on this dog. I need to recoup a little bit. I haven't had a chance to breed him and make any money that way. So he's going to pay half, or I don't know how much the other Patrick paid, but he's going to give me some money towards the dog, and we're going to keep the dog at his house. Huh? Dude, can I talk to this other Patrick? He's like, well, now you got to imagine, I'm speaking to this Patrick the whole time, and he speaks really good English. The other Patrick that he's doing business with mostly speaks Dutch, because Dutch is their native language over there. So I asked him, could I speak to the other Patrick? He goes, well, he mostly speaks Dutch, so you're going to have to speak to him
through me. As soon as I seen pictures of this other Patrick, I got bad vibes, bro. I got bad vibes. Like, I wouldn't have sold Cujo to that Patrick. I would have never sold Cujo to that Patrick. But what can I do? Patrick is over there. Now he wants to be a part of BGK Europe, and he's going to put money in with the other Patrick, where I only want to work with the first Patrick that I actually sold Cujo to. That was my thing. But anyway, he tells me we're going to keep Cujo over there. And at first, everything was good. We planned out our very first breeding with Cujo, and our very first breeding with Cujo created BGK's Shadow. Okay? BGK Shadow was the very first breeding that we ever did with BGK's Cujo in Europe. We bred BGK's Cujo to BGK's Ziggy, I believe, and BGK's Cujo and BGK's Ziggy ended up creating BGK Shadow. Now, what I told them, and this is when I started to get the idea of how bad things were about to go, and things go left. This is when you get to see the other side of the breeding business. And it's a shame because BGK's Cujo proved himself to be a legend. Let's circle back to my first litter, and we'll get back to what's going on in Europe. Out of my first litter, I got BGK's T-Rex, first pick. I got BGK's Avatar, second pick. I got BGK's Tank, third pick. Okay, you don't understand. This litter just turned out amazing. Let me tell you a little bit about each one of those picks and why they're special. BGK's T-Rex, you heard the story time about BGK's T-Rex. He's the one that I sold to Indonesia and ended up getting put in a fighting ring against 2 Pitbulls. If you haven't watched that story time, go watch it. It's crazy, and it happened. BGK's Avatar went to a guy in North Carolina who really didn't take that great care of him. His name is Adrian of North Carolina's MVP or something like that. Real scumbag dude. And then BGK's Tank went to a real good dude named Paul of Top Blue's Kennel. BGK's Tank is the one that I told you ended up in the movie with Keanu Reeves. He's the foundation stud for Top Blue Kennels. He produced beast after beast after beast after beast. So my first litter with Cujo turned out amazing. So I was warning them back to Europe. I was warning them over in Europe to make sure on their first litter they don't make the mistake that I did and sell the first pick. Because the first pick that I sold from Cujo was BGK's T-Rex. Right? I should have never sold BGK's T-Rex. He wouldn't end up in Indonesia in a dogfighting ring and dying. Right? So I'm telling them, do not sell. Europe is too small. We're just entering the market right now. We're dominating the market right now. We are the market right now. There is no other XL American bully except Cujo, and he's killing it. He would kill it in the United States, so he's definitely killing it in Europe. Keep BGK's Shadow and do not sell him. Keep him and market him so people know what BGK Cujo's production power is in Europe, and then you could up the stud fee, and we can charge between $8,000 to $10,000 per stud, and be very selective with how many people you let breed Cujo locally, because you're going to create your own competition. This is the reason why I sold Cujo to Europe and not to somebody in the United States. They didn't listen. They seen dollar signs. And when I say they, it wasn't the first Patrick that I showed it to. It was the one that he was doing business with over there, the other Patrick. The good Patrick and the bad Patrick. It's the bad Patrick that's telling him, no man, we can get 10, 12, 14, 15,000 or euro out of this first pick pup. Let's sell it. So what they do, they sell BGK Shadow, right? First, they sell it out there in Europe, right next door. A lady named Jolanda. Jolanda bought BGK's Shadow. So after they did that, I'm like, okay, I told them not to sell the dog, and they sold the dog. BGK Europe is off to a bad start. Out to a bad start. So, anyways, as the plot goes on, I tell them, all right, let's do this. I want to do a breeding with BGK's Cujo. I'm going to fly a bitch out there. I fly a bitch out there. I do a breeding with BGK's Cujo. And my cousin actually takes the flight, and he goes out there and he takes pictures, videos of BGK's Cujo, pictures and video of BGK's Cujo with my bitch, which was Baby Envy. I bred BGK's Cujo to Baby Envy, and he took big pictures and video out there, and my cousin's telling me while he's out there in Europe, he is like, dude, I don't think you understand, like, the impact this dog has had. He's a superstar. Like, they're treating this dog like a superstar, and when we say they, we're not just talking about the two Patricks. We're talking about the general public in Europe. Everybody knows about Cujo. Everybody. And then when he showed me the pictures, Cujo had matured at that point, and I was like, why did I sell this dog? Like, I should have never sold this dog. He's wider than I ever seen him. His head is thick as hell. His chest, bone, dome, he is the complete package. Like, easily. He's winning first places in shows out in Europe. He's cleaning up. It's not just my opinion. He's winning at the shows. And not only is he winning at the shows, he's like the only one there that really fits the breed type of an XL American Bully. So he's showing them what the breed is supposed to look like. I mean, this was just a golden era for us. So at that point, when my cousin got back, I was like, I really got to tighten up. Because I've seen all these pictures, all these videos. And to their credit, they did the breeding with baby Envy. And she came back pregnant when I flew her back to the United States. And I thought things were going to go a little bit smoother. But this is where it gets bad. So at this point, I start getting calls from different people in Europe saying, hey, I paid for a BGK Cujo stud fee. I paid them $12,000 and they wouldn't let me use the dog. I paid $10,000 for a BGK Cujo pup and I didn't get the pup. I paid $30,000 for 2 BGK Cujo pups and I didn't get the pup. I'm getting calls like I owe money. They're like, you owe me money. I'm like, how do I owe you money? They're like, because we did business with BGK Europe and they ripped us off. So I call the Patrick that can actually speak English, the Patrick that I know, the solid guy, the good guy, the businessman, and I'm asking him what's going on. He goes, it's my partner. I'm going to talk to the other Patrick. He's not listening to me very much. And I was like, that's why you should have never let him keep the dog at his house. Because now he has control. Whoever has the dog has control. He's like, no, I'm going to fix this. I'm going to fix this. So seemingly things kind of get fixed for a little bit there. And we decide to do the first XL American Bully show. We enlist EBKC judge.
To clarify things real quick, Raheem, my friend, is also an ABKC, the American Bully Club judge, as well as an EBKC judge. His wife is a judge with both of them as well.
By the name of Raheem, who is a good friend of mine. Shout out to Raheem. Raheem, you're a good dude, man. He's still a good friend of mine to this day. We talk all the time. We're friends on social media. Matter of fact, I'm going to be having him on my podcast. And Raheem decided to help us throw our first show. So we did the BGK birthday bash. And man, was it packed. I was supposed to go there with Rock. And unfortunately, I couldn't show up with Rock. When we got to the airport to try to get Rock through, they said he weighed too much inside of the crate and would have to be shipped on a cargo shipper. There's a weight limit for a dog inside of a crate, and he exceeded that. Like I told him, Rock is a beast. So I ended up appearing at that dog show that we were throwing, that BGK Europe and myself, me being the founder and leader of BGK Europe at that point, that we were throwing together. I ended up showing up at that show via Skype. So man, it was an emotional moment for me, to be real. Like, I'm sitting here talking to a crowd of people in Europe who probably barely understand me. So my friend Patrick is like translating for me on the stage as I talk to them, and I tell them I wish I could be there. I couldn't. I'm so happy that you guys love the BGK blood. I'm so happy that you guys love BGK Cujo. And then I showed them BGK's Rock, who is right beside me. This is his father. I'm explaining about the XL American Bully breed to them. It was just a monumental moment for me, and I didn't want to show it to the camera, but I got emotional, man, because it's a trip to be talking to all these people in a different country that's so focused on me because of what we were able to create as far as the XL American Bullies and the quality that we put together. Man, it was just one of those things, you know, just to look out at that crowd and have them looking back and to see all the different dogs out there, even though they weren't like mine, but to see that there was a movement now. There's a culture that's being generated around the XL American Bully, and I was a part of it. It was something that money can't buy.
That only reason that the Rock not get on the plane is because of a weight limit that they told us about at the last minute. When we went to put Rock onto the plane, they told us that he was too big inside of the crate, and that they would not allow a dog that was over 165 pounds inside of the crate to get on the plane, that he would have to be shipped separately as cargo. And at that point, it was just like, Just really broke my heart because BGK Europe is very important to me, and this event is very important to me as well. So I really want to make sure that everybody understands that, coming from me, Mr. BGK, who founded BGK himself, to BGK Europe, who's taking it to the next level, and I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Coming clearly, you have to let me know, Patrick.
Yes, you came out very clear. I will try and translate for the people who are not speaking very well English, to the prices, of course. So I don't know, well, I'm looking at Rock right now. And of course we were very disappointed with the news. I was up many nights discussing this with you. And even until this show, I didn't even sleep, but you know, I just want to make this perfect. And I hope in a way we succeeded, but by getting you on Skype.
I was seeing all these pictures of all these dogs that's being produced by Cujo in Europe, some with my consent, some without my consent, but one thing that was consistent, all of them were dope. Cujo was outproducing himself again and again and again and again and again, to the point where you could tell that Cujo is a true super producer, and I should have never sold him. He can outproduce himself in his sleep. He has sons just like Rock, as big as 200 pounds. He has some sons that weren't as big as 200 pounds, 150, 160 pounds, but still look pristine, like BGK's El Turbo, BGK's Shadow. I don't even want to go through all the different Cujo sons out there, man. Dude, BGK's Prodigy, BGK's Sultan. BGK Sultan is actually one of my favorite BGK Cujo sons, and one that I will be using in my breeding program myself, again in the future, because he's producing just like his father. My BGK blood translates from generation to generation. But anyway, so now I figured out, let me get a couple more breedings out of him. I sent Patrick a female, and I said, here, I did a breeding with King Liger back to Cujo's sister, BGK's Big Sexy. Shout out to Saul. So after I bred King Liger to Big Sexy, I sent the pick female out to Europe, to BGK's Europe, like, here's a female for you, and we'll work out something in the future. What does the shady Patrick do? Get that dog to his house and resells that dog for money, right? That's why he's not in the American Bully breeding business anymore. Then I get the ultimate call from my friend Patrick over there, and he's in a hospital. I don't know exactly what happened, and I know that he doesn't want to say exactly what happened, but what I'm pretty sure happened is the other Patrick got physical with his friend and beat him down, or had him beat down, over BGK's Cujo, over the ownership, saying, we're not partners no more, I'm just going to beat your ass, the papers are now in my name. He managed to get my friend Patrick to sign over BGK's Cujo's papers. He basically deboed my friend. Alright? You know, Patrick over there is a great guy. The good guy, I love him, man. Like, he was just not built to deal with his so-called childhood friend who was greedy and seen that Cujo was a gold mine. So at the end of the day, Cujo was taken over by Shady Patrick. And I called Patrick up, I let him know, stop using the BGK name. If I ever catch you, there's going to be problems. And this goes back to other people. Other people were telling me that BGK's Patrick was shady, including, remember the judge that I told you, Raheem? He's an ABKC judge. He's an EBKC judge. His wife is an ABKC and an EBKC judge as well. So they know dogs. And then one time I get a call from my friend Patrick saying, hey, Raheem turned up at the other Patrick's house and he was about to beat his ass. He's flipping over furniture in Patrick's living room. And I thought, whoa, Raheem is a cool dude. Why would Raheem be over there about to beat Shady Patrick's ass? But you know what it was? Him and his wife were over there talking crazy, disrespecting people, ripping people off. And Raheem, he don't play around. He's a good guy, but he's a lot like myself. He doesn't play around. So he showed up at his house in his living room, flipping over furniture, saying, you will not disrespect me anymore, and you better not rip off no more of my friends. I salute him for that. If I had the chance to do that, I would have did it. Luckily, Raheem did. So anyway, I give the call to Patrick, my friend Patrick, to tell his friend, shut down BGK Europe. If anybody contacts me, I'm going to let them know BGK Europe is a fraud. BGK Europe is a scam. BGK Europe is ripping off people using my name. BGK Europe has nothing to do with BGK USA. I do not recognize them on any level. Do not buy dogs from them. Do not trust them. Do not allow them to tell you, ask me, because a lot of people call me asking, are they legit? I was telling them, hell no. I started posting on social media, on my Facebook, on my Instagram, on YouTube, everywhere I could post. I was letting everybody know, do not do business with BGK Europe, because BGK Europe no longer has any ties to me. It's been taken over by a shady Patrick, not my original Patrick. And some people were getting confused because both of their names were Patrick. So I'm trying to explain, like, yeah, there's a Patrick, but it's not the same Patrick, and that guy is shady. So there was a lot lost in translation, because even when they would call me on WhatsApp to try to ask what was going on, I had a hard time communicating. So I just made sure I posted as much as I could to shut them down. They closed down their Instagram page. They closed down their Facebook page. And Patrick Cujo, the shady Patrick, we should say, he decided he was going to go ahead and block me, because he knew that anything to come from me towards him now was going to be negative. And I was smashing on him. And he couldn't pull the same shit that he had pulled on his friend Patrick with me. That wasn't going to work. I would have smashed his face in. I still want to smash his face in. So what Patrick does is decides to stop breeding XL American Bullies, because I had ruined his name in that. Like in Europe, it was done. Once I started speaking on it, and once I let it be known in the United States that BGK Europe was a scam and ripping people off, he sold the name to another guy for like 40 grand. Even though he didn't have the right to the BGK Europe name, he sold the name to somebody else and started breeding different dogs, took Cujo, and moved in with his wife's best friend, and went and moved to a whole nother location, because there were so many people that was looking to find the shady Patrick in Europe, and hid out. But anyway, he had moved over there and he had stopped breeding XL American Bullies, and that was how Cujo pretty much passed. And Cujo died late 2020. RIP to a legend. I wish he hadn't had the life that he had, because I was told that once the bad Patrick got a hold of him, he wasn't treated the way he should have been treated. He was mostly being cramped up, and like at first he was being treated like a king, but after the guy started making a lot of money off of him, I heard he just built a small kennel and would keep him in the kennel, and Cujo was not interacting with the family like he was in the beginning, because before I would see all kinds of pictures of Cujo with his kids and things like that, and then after a while it went away. So I know that Cujo's life didn't go as it should have, and I feel real responsible for that. And I also learned something about how my blood develops. And you got to be very careful when you're trusting people overseas. Like the guy that I did trust overseas was trustworthy. Patrick was trustworthy. Unfortunately, the Patrick that he trusted, his childhood friend, was a piece of shit who decided to rip him off, steal his dog, and then eventually leave his wife, go with their best friend, and just hide out with all the money that he had made and buy a new house. He actually bought him a new house from all the money that he had made off of using BGK's Cujo and not paying me or his partner over there. I guess the water makes him feel safe, because that distance, man, that's the only thing that saved his ass. If I was over there, this would have never happened. So if you want to know what happened to BGK's Cujo, that's how it started, and unfortunately, that's how it ended. Let me know what you guys think about it. Let me know what you know about BGK's Cujo, if you've ever seen any of his productions, because BGK's Cujo is a legend in the way that he took the breed internationally. One thing that's undeniable is he helped establish, not just helped establish, he established the breed in Europe. He is the most famous foundation XL American Bully stud in Europe and is a legend to this day. I salute you. Stay positive. High vibration, positive vibes, much love. Andre BGK, and I'm out. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at Largest Pitbulls. Our Instagram is at Largest Pitbulls. Yes, I know I breed XL American Bullies. That is my IG name for a reason. And also follow us on TikTok at Big Gemini Kennels. Check out our website, which is in the description below, BigGeminiKennels.com. We have a book that we're releasing called XL American Bully Legends that will be out very shortly. Make sure you check out the pinned comment below if you would like to purchase the XL American Bully Legends book. I will leave a link there. It'll be there for you to check out, and everything else will be in the description.
If you'd like to know more about these dogs, please check out my ebook, BGK's Dog Care Secrets and Breeding Tips. It's available on Amazon.com and has got great reviews. You can check that out yourself. The link will be in the description. And you can also purchase it on my website, BigGeminiKennels.com. That's BIGGEMINI Kennels.com. You can purchase it right there. I'm working on part 2 right now since I got such a great response to my first book. If you're a pet owner and you're looking for tips to help it grow and reach its maximum potential and what exercises and dog food and supplements to use, this book is for you. If you're a breeder that's established and you're looking to learn more about marketing and the different tips and tricks we use when delivering litters and marketing our pups and making sure they reach their fullest potential, this book is for you. If you're a breeder that's just starting out or you're looking to become a breeder, this will give you all the insights you need on picking your foundation stock all the way up to how to breed and the type of breedings to use and what's most effective. This book is for you. Remember, our motto is always quality matters. I'm out.